so this section that is specifically talking about data wrapper, the program online here, and Sparklines. This class is focused kind of on Tableau and kind of on general principles, and definitely not on this particular program. So you don't have to go through the exercise if you don't want to. It is a pretty cool free program that has a lot of different capabilities. So it's actually not bad to check out. What I want to make sure that I point out to you, whether or not you want to hang out for the rest of this particular piece of this video, is when you go into data wrapper, and here I've basically started working on what this ends up to be. This little feature is something that data wrapper can do that isn't built into Tableau in the same way. So, so if you want an effect like this is actually a pretty cool program, just as a selling point. So you see how it has colors right here for the continent. And this color scheme was based off of their, no, because I already said it all. There we go. So we can set these like this. So you can kind of see the built-in color scheme that they've picked out. So I'm gonna set these up again real quick. Actually, make that light. And so if you're not colorblind, these should be fairly easy to distinguish from each other. It's a pretty wide palette, right? But what data wrapper does that is really cool is, if I can get it to get on here, it's got a colorblind check feature. And not all programs have this type of thing. So if you don't have this kind of thing, what I tend to do, because I don't have color blindness, is kind of end up like squinting at a thing to try to narrow my vision so that the colors are like grayscale-ish. And if I can tell them apart when they're grayscale, it's probably okay. So that's like my very non-scientific way of trying to do a check for this. But here you can say that you can see that it tells you about, so it informs you these different types of colorblind pieces here. So this is the grayscale version. So now you can see that Africa and Europe are like almost identical. So that's not super great. The tints, you can see that again, North America and Europe are almost exactly the same. So that's not super great. For the plot, they're actually pretty good, which is great. And for the Dute shorthand here, it's also pretty good, actually. So it's just these two that are showing us that these two are too similar to each other, and so we should go back and keep playing with the color schemes until we find something that is visually appealing that passes all of these colorblind checks. So grayscale is probably the easiest, and like it says here, for most accessibility, get it right in black and white. So if it looks good in black and white grayscale, then it should be okay for everything else. So I wanted to point that out really quick for you. Now I'm going to transition to actually backing up and going through this data wrapper Sparklines thing real quick, just so that you can see how to click the buttons in here, because you can get lost in trying to follow along here. Okay, so if you're not interested in the rest of this, you can skip to the end of the video and go to the next one. So this data that they use here is linked here. So if you follow this link, you will get to that, except for then you'll go away from the thing. Okay, so that's the link. This data wrapper site here is this link up here. Okay, so if you go to that website, you hit start creating, and it brings it up here. You don't have to log in, sign in, or anything. You'll want to create an account if you want to save your stuff. You can just copy, hit Control A, Control C, copy that import there. If you could also download it to your desktop and upload it here as the Excel or CSV upload, or other ways. It does a data check for you, which is pretty cool. I'm going to jump ahead because I know that this is coming up. This is actually going to have to be a number instead of text. It's empty, which is why it automatically assumed that it was going to be text instead of numbers. So we're just making that quick correction on it. Everything else it guessed correctly, but you can do spot checks throughout if you need to. Oh. Okay, let's see. And see how this one is, it's blue. It's marking it that it's a number, just like the rest of these. And you can see this is actually pretty cool. It gives you a quickie histogram and averages and such. So if you're using this for kind of a quick data cleaning, you can kind of like see the shape of your data, not data cleaning as much as just seeing the distribution of your data. That's a nice little feature, so you know that the numbers are doing what you expect them to do. You can also transpose your data if needed to, right inside of here, and add columns, all sorts of different things in here. Usually you're not going to need to do that stuff, but you can do, like, there's little calculations and stuff right built in here, which is pretty cool. Okay, so here, despite all the cool things here, we're starting this actually as a table. But it seems to have gotten confused a little bit here, so I'm going to back up a step. Okay, we accept your things. There we go. That's what we want to see. Okay, so first things it tells us to do is to upload your things, inspect it, visualize. It's got all this cool code stuff. Let's see. Okay, so in number 5, this is the visualization. Visualize, refine. So it tells us that we want to make it searchable, and I think that we wanted to do a striped table here. So they are a fan of this old school style. Those are personal choice things. A little bit old school, but a lot of people like it. Here it's using this very cool feature of the these country code things. So in here, you just go down, place that for the nation tab or nation column. Back in here, because now that we've done that, we can actually hide those. So we tell it to take those off and take those off. Cool. that is going through 7 and 8. Column 9 is where, or number 9 is what we're just looking at with the color code stuff. So here we're telling it to color the cells based on your categories. And we're going to do, we're doing on, did we select the right one up here? Continent. We're doing continent based on continent. Okay. So here, when you click each one, you can tell what color you want it to be. So let's see. So these are a little, yeah, clickable, not scootable. Sure, let's make Asia purple. Europe is pretty green. Africa is associated with a lot of bright colors. North America, like that yellow, and South America, we'll make it kind of a related color. So yeah, so brown, Oceania just sounds blue. Okay, so we have colors in there. Ideally, you'd actually go use something that specifically matches. Let's do a color check. Oceania and Europe are too close together. So see, we can just check like that. So Oceania and Europe, and yeah, if you squint, you can kind of tell that they're not, it's not super good. So what if we made that one darker? It's a little close to, there we go. There we go. They're all happy together. They all look good. Yep. And we can bring them back to the color, fallen color side. So yep, there we go. All right, so that is our color code scheme. Really quickie job. And here they talk about the Color Brewer design tool. And we'll hit that back when we get to the chapter 7. But there's a lot of classic color schemes that we can use that are like supposed to look good together. So for another day. Okay, for the Sparklines, again, these are like really cool things that they've added into here. So in this, you're selecting the first one here, the life expectancy, which they've left blank, as coded as the number. We're going to go all the way down to 2018, which is their most recent data. Just hit the shift key and click on the last one, and it selects all of them. And then go tiny columns, and it labeled it for us. It knows that it's from 1960 all the way through. And when you go back up here, you can see that it's taken all those columns and scrunched them together. If you messed up and didn't select them all, you can actually convert them back to normal columns using that button right there. Yeah, so that is the Sparklines. So that's a really cool little feature in here, right? And then the last thing that they did is to use a bar chart to visually represent the difference column in the table here. Push slider to select show as a bar chart. And there we go. And then it wanted, we didn't set this light blue as one of our colors, so we don't have to necessarily change it. But they're wanting to change it because they had the blue as like the South American one. was very close to it. So that is walking through that little activity. Through this, other things you want to do is edit the title, because all tables should always be titled. So this is the changes in life expect and see from 1960 to then. I still didn't spell it right. There we go. Okay, there we go. We've got all these different nations, 11 pages of nations. There you go. So this chart, the way it's organized, is great if you know the nation that you want, and it's searchable, which is also great. If you're looking for things by continent, it's not as good, but yeah, it's a choice. So here, yeah, it's got descriptions and notes that you want to add it in. Data source, who published the data. If you're publishing this, you'd want to actually, in here, they've got notes on here, so you'd want to add in all of this kind of information. See if it'll take copy paste there. There we go. Yeah, so you'd want to add in that type of information, because we want to make sure that we keep information provided. But yeah, you'd want to fill those out and to actually publish and embed it. So that is that activity. Again, optional, not part of homework. But I hope you found that pretty cool as well.